good afternoon, and thank you to everyone again for coming in and have this opportunity to continue the discussion through your various media outlets about how my Labor government's continuing to support Victoria's strong and proud multicultural and multi-faith communities, and how my government is determined to always look at ways to make life easier, safer and more affordable for the Victorian community. And I thought I'd start there with some of the work we have been doing. And I know a number of you attended the budget media lockup, but I thought I'd just go back a few weeks ago when we delivered our state budget for 2020-26. And you'll see from the focus we've had in our state budget that we are focused on supporting families, multicultural families, who are feeling those cost of living pressures. And it's something I hear a lot from families and people right across Victoria. Whether it's the more recent impact of Donald Trump's war in the Middle East and how that's pushing up the price of everything as a result of the pressure around fuel prices, but also too some of those day-to-day pressures that families were already experiencing. You'll see our recent state budget was firmly focused on addressing those cost of living pressures that families are experiencing, which is why the budget announced the initiative of 20% off car rego. That starts from the 1st of June, so this conversation today is timely. It's an opportunity to remind people that from the 1st of June, the opportunity to get a 20% rebate off car rego for this year will be available. That will save up to $186 per vehicle for those that take advantage of this rebate. And I acknowledge that this might be a smaller amount, but it's a meaningful way that we can show support and also put money back into household budgets where we know it will be quickly taken up with other expense items like the grocery bill, mortgage or rent payments as well. So if we could promote through your outlets that this will be available from the 1st of June through the Services Victoria app, is where Victorians can go and get their 20% of car rego. It comes alongside public transport being free for the months of April and May, and we're making it half price for the rest of the year as another way of supporting families with those cost of living pressures. And then there was also other supports in the budget around expanding our free glasses for kids program in schools, continuing with our the dental care programs, the breakfast clubs that are in schools as well. Also too, the budget invested strongly and heavily in those key frontline services and public government services that families rely on in education and health. I wanted to give you one example of something in the budget that I'm really proud of, that I know is important for parents across Victoria, and that is the additional surgeries for kids that we've funded in the budget. We're doing this because we have seen that too many children are waiting too long to be able to get in to receive their surgery. And this is personal for me. Our eldest daughter spent a lot of time when she was a newborn bub in hospital, and so I know what it's like, the stress and worry about having your child wait for their surgery and wait for those appointments. So that's why the budget has boosted by 4,000 the numbers of kids surgery, and we've also funded 45,000 more specialist appointments, because anyone with kids who's been waiting to see a specialist appointment, you know that can be a time of worry as well. And that's of course in addition to the work we've been doing to build more hospitals, employ more nurses and midwives as well. I've mentioned education. We continue with the work around free TAFE, free kinder. We've funded more schools. We've opened 121 new schools since 2019, and this budget continues to build more schools in locations right across the state. And then I just thought I'd finish on an initiative that has been, I know, important for many in our community, is the extra investments we're putting into Victoria Police. Understanding that community safety is a concern for people in our community. We've been responding, whether it's through toughening the bail laws, introducing adult time for violent crime, This year's budget also increases the number of protective services officers by 50 for their work to be enhanced around train stations. And we're also supporting the Chief Commissioner's plan to get more police out on the streets through the funding of 200 reservists. These will be former retired police officers who will be coming back into the force to free up some of those desk-based jobs so more police can get out on the streets to prevent and respond to crime, which I know is important to the local community. We also need to look at getting in and addressing the root causes of crime, preventing crime before it starts, which is why the budget makes permanent the Violence Reduction Unit that we have established here in Victoria. It is something that's modelled on a successful approach in London and Glasgow, where we work with getting into areas where before kids really do go off the rails. So it's working in schools, in communities, in families, keeping kids connected, working with police to help prevent crime, and also to connecting them back into the things that support them with their education is a key way to let these young people really reach their full potential. So that's just a quick snapshot of areas in our recent state budget that we are focused on continuing the work around how we make life easier, safer and more affordable for Victorian families. I just wanted to touch on a couple of other areas before we open it up for questions. I wanted to directly address some proposals that have come out of Canberra and come out of Canberra from the Federal Liberal Party. But I know from hearing directly from multicultural communities here in Victoria that families are worried about those migration changes that are being proposed by the Federal Liberal Party. The proposal to cut off long-term permanent residents from the age pension, for example, is something that is not only unnecessary and disrespectful, it does really target older Australians from multicultural communities who have made such a big contribution to our community and society. And it's not only unfair, it is a direct attack on people who've worked hard, paid taxes, and as I said, made an important contribution. And we're seeing too much of this. We're seeing too much of this from Liberal parties here in Victoria and in Canberra as well. We know why. It's because of this growing reliance that the Liberal Party has on support from One Nation that we are seeing this Donald Trump style playbook coming into politics here in Victoria and here in Australia. They're doing this because the Liberals know they cannot win without One Nation. And I want to make this pledge today that in my Labor government, we will not only fight back against these proposals, we will stand with multicultural and multi-faith communities. I am so proud to be the Premier of a state that people from around the world choose us as the place to live, as a place to raise families, as a place that they see a future to invest in. And I'm determined to keep it that way. And part of that is the work that we're doing, the positive work that we're doing to invest in schools and hospitals, keep our communities safe, provide support for families, make sure we have the economic settings right to continue to create jobs and bring in more business investment, which we are performing more strongly than any other state in the nation. But a part of that too is being very clear on what we stand for, who we stand with, and what we stand against. And that's why I make that commitment today that I'll continue to fight hard every single day against these divisive policies, divisive practices, divisive politics that does nothing to advance our great state here in Victoria. And that goes to that central belief that I have, that we have to be a state that is free from hate, a state where everyone's given a go. In a good public school, if you're sick, you can get access at a good public hospital, and you have the right to live safely and freely here in the great state of Victoria. That's what my Labor government stands for. It's what I will always fight for as Premier, and really welcome the opportunity to work with communities across the state to continue this strong, forward-looking agenda. I'll open it up.